and welcome on Thomas Geiger Car. Today with the new BMW iX. BMW has been amongst the first to build a dedicated electric vehicle with the i3 roughly 10 years ago. The problem? The car was so outstanding that the people didn't follow. Then they lost their faith and fell back on the electric avenue. But now they're starting to strike back with the second generation of a dedicated IV. Not a small city car, a proper everyday SUV, coming to the market later that year. If you're keen to know what this vehicle will deliver and how it will compete against the Mercedes EQC, Audi e-tron or a Tesla Model Y, join me on my first test drive and I'll tell you more about it. Size-wise, the iX is a blend of the most successful BMW X models. With a length of almost 5 meters, it's got the same length than an X5, but it is lower than an X6 due to the drag coefficient. And it's got more room than the X7. That is the advantage of the dedicated EV platform. Since all the batteries are in the floor, the engines are much smaller and the overhang is much shorter, the wheelbase much bigger, there's lots of legroom for the rear seat passengers. Another advantage of the dedicated EV platform is the lack of a center tunnel. Since there's no mechanical connection between the front and the rear axle, there is no need of a crankshaft or a cardan wave, and you can easily swap from the left to the right and you can move freely in the car. There is no other BMW X model as comfortable as the iX, at least for the rear seat passengers. Initially, the iX will be offered with two powertrains. The iX i40 has 240 kilowatts, the iX i50 has 385 kilowatts, and always all-wheel drive. There is an M model as an iX M60 on the horizon that will deliver proper 440 kilowatts. Talking about the range, we have two battery sizes for the moment. The i40 starts with a 77 kilowatt hour battery. The i50 comes with an immense 111 kilowatt hours battery. That translates into a range that takes away any anxiety. While the i3 was more an urban car, the iX will be a proper Autobahn cruiser. The i40 of the iX already goes to 425 kilometers in the WLTP range. The iX i50 has 630 kilometers of WLTP range. That means Hamburg, Frankfurt, Frankfurt, Munich, Stuttgart, Cologne, all to be driven easily on one charge. And if you have to charge, that goes pretty fast as well. Talking about speed, there is something BMW drivers have to change their mindset. While BMW drivers were known to go full speed with 250 kilometers on the left lane of the Autobahn until now, they have to change and they have to slow down, because even the most powerful model has a limit of 200 kilometers per hour. Same as the i3 10 years ago, the iX also gives us a fresh look into the BMW interior. Yes, the car is still driver focused because fun to drive, sheer driving pleasure is still a key message even in the electric age of BMW. But the look and feel is totally different. We have an octagonal steering wheel. It's not round, it has 8 corners and it's taken a bit of time to get used to it. But most of all, we have this new curved display. Not as big and not as fancy, for example, as in a Mercedes EQS, but very cool, very tech and very fresh. And the usage is totally easy. It's the 8th generation of the BMW UI system. It's well learned and it's totally easy to operate. You can do it with speech, you can do it by touching the screen, and you can still use some buttons, even if they're just half of the amount of buttons than, for example, in an X5. And you still have the iDrive controller. It's a bit smaller than before, it's looking a bit more refined, but it's still there because it's an icon of the BMW operating system. The iX might be the most advanced BMW yet, with the first 5G implementation, with the latest generation of electric motors and batteries and all that stuff. But it's also the car that hides its technique the most. Shy-tech is the name the marketing guys invented for that. And it culminates in a hood that can't be opened anymore. So if you want to look underneath the hood, you have to go to the workshop and ask the mechanics to open it. But since there are some necessities that leads you to fill up, for example, the washer fluid, they've had a smart idea and placed the nozzle underneath the BMW logo. Thanks for joining me on that first test drive with the BMW iX. A car the Generation E has been waiting for pretty long. Because after BMW has gone way ahead with the i3, they fell back pretty hard. Now they're back in business with a car that combines the strengths of all BMW models. It has the size and the versatility of an iX. It has the room and comfort of a X7. It has the driving dynamics of a 5 Series and the luxury ride of a 7 Series. All that comes with a price. Base price in Germany is a little bit above 77,000 euros. But if you fit it like it should be, with all the luxury and the bigger battery and the higher power output, you're reaching 6-digit numbers easily. Also in that respect, it is a typical BMW.